support line. Make sure we get that at some point. But if you guys are ready, I'm ready.
Ready.
Let's
I think
start.
we're good, yeah.
All right, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
I am here with Haven people. This is Bailey Brubaker, who is the community engagement coordinator, and Beth Kampschror, who is the director of communications. Nailed it. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here during pumpkin season.
Thank you so much for having us. We're
Thank
so
you.
excited.
You get the jack-o'-lantern treatment behind you. But the reason that you're here this time of year, it's October, and October is going to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month for Haven.
For the entire United States.
For everybody.
For everyone.
Not
yes.
just for, we're not special in Montana.
Well, I mean, we are special.
Sure.
But it is DVAM for the entire United States.
Got it. Okay. And talk me through what Haven is.
You want it?
I could do that.
Okay.
All right.
Haven is a 40-plus-year-old organization that serves the Gallatin Valley, Gallatin County, supports survivors of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, stalking, sexual assault, sex trafficking. A couple of years ago, we opened a new shelter complex called the Barnard Center. And basically that is all about bringing this issue into the light, away from the shadows. In the old days, it was really kind of common to have a shelter that was tucked away and secret, and everything was hidden away. Sometimes people felt a lot of stigma and shame about that, and so the new, kind of more modern best practice is to bring this issue out of the shadows. Our new shelter is public facing. You can Google our location. We operate a shelter, 24-hour support line, which is 406-586-4111. HavenMT.org is our website. You can also access support there. And we serve not only women, we serve everyone who has experienced these kinds of things.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
So the idea, we're bringing it kind of out of the shadows. We're going to talk about it, make sure that there's more awareness about it, and it goes both ways. The shelter is for long-term, short-term. What is the design of the shelter?
I think it's, like all of our services, is really tailored to people's individual experience. So if somebody needs to stay with us for a little while longer, that's possible. And knowing that we're in a housing crisis in Gallatin County and Montana and nationally, that sometimes that can really serve people who are trying to save up for first month's, last month's deposit and those kind of things in our kind of tight housing market here.
And I saw that people could bring their dogs.
We take all kind of pets. I think we have a gecko right now. We had a guinea pig for
You-
a while.
It's
a gecko.
just an umbrella, any pets.
Absolutely. I mean, within reason.
Sure.
Right. But we do take pets, and we have a wonderful little like kennels outside. The residents can have their dogs inside. Pets can actually be one of like a huge reason for not leaving, right? Like I've had this dog for 15 years. I grew up with him. Like
Yeah.
I can't just get rid of my dog. So having pets in shelters is a huge, huge win for Haven and our residents.
And I'm sure it makes for a more colorful experience there at the shelter as well.
Oh,
for-
even
for
at our
anybody.
office, we can walk around and see these cutesy little dogs just running around. It just warms everyone's heart.
All right, that's great. Let's talk about the statistics lately. I read that you guys have seen quite the uptick in terms of people who are seeking help. Is domestic violence becoming more prevalent in our area?
I think the national and global statistics that say 1 in 3 women, 1 in 5 men have experienced this type of violence within a relationship, we're not anything unusual in this county. And so if you think about the growth in just population that the county has experienced over the last 10, 15, 20 years, proportionally, statistically, it's going to mean that there are more people accessing support, getting in touch with our colleagues who answer the support line, those types of things. I don't think there's anything special about our region when it comes to this particular issue.
Okay. That's good to know. But the cycle of abuse, as I see literature, it's on the website, I saw it on your Instagram. How can people best sort of recognize abuse before it becomes this very severe issue? Is that part of your goal here, is to bring awareness to that extent?
We're just trying to increase education, because domestic violence is such a hard thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Everyone, with these statistics that Beth just said, everyone knows someone, or they may be that someone that has experienced domestic violence. And so it gets into education of, domestic violence is not just physical violence, right? If we look at this power and control wheel right here, there is so many factors that make domestic violence happen, and there's so many factors that people may not realize. So when we're trying to, get that education out to the community, it might kind of open someone's eyes of oh, I'm not getting physically abused. However, there are other factors that this is DV, right? Okay.
And is that, if you had sort of a message to get out to the general public, is that what it would be? Just the education, and I'll put this graphic up while we're talking on the video. I mean, is that the overarching message?
Yeah, I think so, is that we just need to educate our community and let people know that this happens and it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but if it's happening to you, it's okay to get help.
Yeah, to confront it, to talk about it.
And then it could be just a simple call to call Haven and say, I'm experiencing this. Do we think this is what is going on?
Yeah. Okay. You're serving a very important purpose. These coasters, the power and control that we were just talking about, is on the back. And so if you're at a bar in Montana, especially in the Gallatin County, during the month of October, you may see these. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Why October? Why are you helping to spread these around?
Absolutely. So the team at Haven and our domestic violence response team here in the Gallatin Valley really wanted to make people start that conversation about domestic violence, because like I said, it's hard to talk about, right? So let's just bring it to where people are having a beer and having conversations already.
Okay.
It's a social setting, right? So you sit down and you have a beer and you're looking at this. Gallatin County says no to violence. On the backside, it's showing what kind of violence may happen, what kind of factors lead into domestic violence. The really cool thing about this is that every bar that has these coasters actually in the bathrooms have these flyers. The nice thing about these flyers is we have everyone's phone numbers in the entire system of the Gallatin County that work with domestic violence. So someone may be able to discreetly take a photo, write down a phone number, share it with a friend, use it themselves. So we're just making that connection just a little bit easier for anyone who may need our services.
Okay. So it's not necessarily tied to alcohol. It's just the places that people are talking and going.
Absolutely.
These are the ones that we're hitting. How has the response been?
Amazing. It's been really, really cool, actually. Beth and I spent last week in Big Sky, and it's starting conversations. The bar owners are loving this. Yesterday I went to Manhattan, Three Forks, and Belgrade, and just stopped at every single bar. And I was like, hey, do you guys want coasters? And they're like, absolutely. This is a great cause. And so it's really heartwarming to see our community just really stepping up to the plate and saying, yeah, we care about this and we will absolutely support anyone that's, experiencing this.
Yeah. Any other events that you're doing that are tied to this big push? I mean, I know we're right at the end of the month.
I think for DVAM this year specifically, I mean, we've done events in the past, especially for past DVAMs. But this year has been really just a push to get these coasters and kind of an overarching education and just people talking about it.
And obviously going on all the top podcasts.
Absolutely.
That was the goal.
Your big press tour that you're doing here. We're glad that you stopped by the kitchen with the scary lanterns for the pumpkins. And outside of October, obviously this is a year-round issue. Mm-hmm. What can people do to help bring awareness if they want to be part of the solution here?
At Haven, we love volunteers. So if anyone is feeling obligated to help and step in, we take direct service volunteers. So we actually let people on that support line after a lot of training. But people can be that role of support. We do a ton of community engagement tabling events. So if you guys want to hang out with me at Music on Main this summer, let's do it. We also do farmers markets. We're doing the Christmas stroll, so come and say hi, get some information, share the word. But volunteering, especially, I mean, even not at just Haven, right? Yeah. Let's look at this as a county-wide thing. I know that a lot of our systems partners, there's so many ways to get involved in Bozeman that we just need people to be educated, be an advocate, be a support system for someone who may be going through something, and then just get involved.
Yeah. The 24-hour hotline, is that an alternative to calling 911? Do you want to call 911 first and then call the hotline? How does that how do they fit together?
So the hotline has a little bit of a different purpose in a sense, depending on the situation and where you're at, right? Our hotline gets a lot of different kind of calls. It could be a concerned mom that's saying, hey, I think my daughter or son is in a bad relationship. How do I support them? That wouldn't be a 911 call. Yeah. If you're in a very dangerous situation, absolutely, that's a 911 call, right? Yeah. But if you're like, I've had this heavy on my heart, and it's time for me to tell my story to someone, Haven's there for you. Like, that's what we do. We're there. We run off the empowerment model, so we meet people where they're at. We're not going to say, okay, now here's all the things you need to do. Sometimes you just need to say it and get it off your chest for a second, then figure out the what's next, right? That's kind of the nice thing about these phone numbers I have on this flyer is that obviously there's 911. Obviously, if there's been a report made, you're going to call victim services or the police department. But if you just need an advocate and someone to listen and to be there and sit in that space with you, Haven's absolutely that space.
Okay. Without using names or revealing identities, can you give me a quick success story from Haven?
Yes. One of the things we've been trying to spread the word about is that Haven offers free and comprehensive mental health support to people who have experienced these things. And organizationally, I think a success story has been this past summer, we were meeting 100% of that need. I mean, and this is at a time which I don't know if anyone listening has tried to go to therapy or get a therapist. It's hard because there's a shortage. So we've been able to meet 100% of that need, whether it's the weekly support group that we offer or individual counseling. Okay. And I've talked to a couple of folks who have accessed those services who have talked about, I mean, obviously it can be tough initially to think, gosh, am I really going to go into a group of randos and tell my story? Like, it's an incredibly vulnerable time. Yeah. And I've heard from a couple of folks who have said that it just changed their lives. But
it seems like a big obstacle is just getting past that initial stigma. What is the solution to that?
Just make the phone call.
Yeah. You just got to gut it out a little bit. And know that there's
support,
a light on the other side.
And knowing that when you do take that step, it's not taking a step into an abyss where you're alone. You're taking a step basically into, I'm just picturing, a group of people that are ready to catch you.
Yeah. Sounds like Haven is doing the Lord's work.
I think one important thing to kind of go over with Haven is Haven services, because we have a lot more services than people just think that we have. So Haven has obviously that 24-hour support line. We also do have a texting option. So if you get on our website, it says you can text Haven right at the bottom. Okay. That's really awesome, because if you're in an unsafe situation and you can't make a call, but you can send a text, absolutely. We have counseling.
Also, that seems like a lot less of a commitment sometimes to people. I know it does for me. If there's a customer service option and I can text as opposed to making a phone call.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're at work, probably easier to text than making a phone call.
Totally.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Going. No, the texting thing is amazing. Yeah. We have counseling, we have support groups, and we also have legal advocacy, which is really cool. A lot of people don't know about that. So we can help with orders of protection, temporary orders of protection, dissolutions of marriage, and parenting plans. So we have a wide variety of ways we can help, because if you think about it, if you have to go in for an order of protection and you get that packet from the courthouse, you're like, oh my gosh, where do I even start, right?
Yeah.
Haven, we are not lawyers, but we can definitely help you through and like understand what you're signing, what you're saying, what's going on, how to get ready for court, what this may look like.
So very comprehensive in terms of what you offer. Does the state of Montana have any legal quirks when it comes to domestic violence that people should be aware of?
Not that I know. I mean, I'm definitely not a legal advocate, so I am not sure on that.
Well, I think one thing that's important to note is that maybe 6 or 7 years ago, the Montana legislature finally made it illegal to stalk and harass somebody. And sometimes people will experience these things, whether it's, unwanted gifts or someone following you to your job or things like that. And maybe it feels terrible and you don't know what to call it. And just know that, like, according to Montana Code Annotated, you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's illegal. If you choose to go the route of legal, court system, that type of thing, Haven legal advocates can definitely support while that's going on.
But I can understand why someone would be afraid to put the term on it. I'm being harassed when maybe somebody, they're just following me around and they keep popping up in places, but better safe than sorry. Right.
And that's a great time to call Haven and say, this is what's happening to me. Is this stalking? Is this what I think it is?
Yeah.
They can help you line out of like, yes, or, whatever. They can like help you and safety plan and like work through what might happen and where you need to go and,
yeah.
things
And
like that.
Kids, when kids are involved, I know it makes everything more difficult, more complicated. How does Haven handle and approach those kinds of situations?
Well, we definitely do have families in shelter. So if you are looking for shelter, we have family rooms. We have, especially the really nice thing about shelter is like they're kind of in pods. And so if you have a teenager that doesn't necessarily want to stay with you, they can have their own room at the shelter. So it doesn't have to be like you're bunking with mom or you're bunking with dad, right? They have space. We can accommodate families and help in whatever way we can.
All right. Outstanding. That's great. I do have a quick game if you guys are up for it here.
Absolutely.
On the coaster, it says Gallatin County says no to violence, right? And the game is playing on that a little bit. The game is called Just Say No. With our county being encouraged to say no to violence, what are you prepared to say no to? Okay? So I'm going to ask you questions, see if you're going to say no or yes to them.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Drugs. We start off easy.
No.
You say no to drugs, right?
Absolutely not. 80s.
It gets more difficult. Would you like fries with that?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Something you can't say no to then.
Especially with ranch.
How about, can I talk to you about your car's extended warranty?
Never.
Oh my God, that's a quick no. All right. Need a coaster for that one.
We're believers in firm boundaries at Haven.
And the final one, does this shirt make me look fat?
No.
The plaid is nice.
I didn't even think it through. I was like, I should have put on one of my horizontal striped shirts. But
Still would have said no.
Thank you for being polite. It's very nice of you. It was so nice to meet both of you, Bailey and Beth, Borden, all the bees, really. We got
Love
it
it.
covered. And please, get a coaster. Read the fine print in the bathroom and go to the website
havenmt.org.
havenmt.org and know that we have that 24-hour support line standing by ready to help. But the most important thing, the message that we got out here is if you think you might need help, call, text, and just start the conversation
Absolutely.
because it can't hurt. All right. Thank you guys. You're doing important work.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.